it's so funny on this podcast I did yesterday. It's like we give all the advice in the world. And I would say I'd say 70% of our clients, I'm like, okay, you can't bitch when you don't do what we're telling you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like bitch all you want, but we're giving you the tools, we're giving you the roadmap, and you're not doing it. Where one big compliment, Motuk actually did it. And so
the thing is with, I appreciate that. The thing is with that is growth is obviously uncomfortable. And in the transitionary periods, what's going to happen is that your team is going to have pushback on you. Like as you transition and you shift culture, you're going to have pushback. So imagine this, right? Imagine you have a culture of average and standard, and everybody in your company is operating on the standard of average and standard. And a year goes by and you habitually had no accountability. People can show up late, people can do whatever they want. And then 1 year goes by and you come to a DDDCon event and you get so amped up and fired up, and you come back into the team and you're like, guys, everyone's getting DDDU. We're all studying every single day, 9 a.m. We're watching every segment. We're meeting here all day. And then 4 days later, how many people you have call you back and be like, Sam, dude, team's not bought in on DDDU. Like, we got to cancel the agreement. Like that stuff happens, right? And leaders aren't explaining properly what impact that does to them. So it's a matter of rather than making it transactional and transitional, you have to be transformational in your leadership. You have to explain the vision of, this is the reason why we're doing this. And you have to explain like what we did really well at the very start is we had our team know, hey, we want to be a company that's focused on being a learning company. And we tell our guys, we say, all right, you guys are your own business. You're 1099, you're your own business. So you're the business owner and you're the employee, and you are your only employee. And if you as a business owner had the choice between choosing a trained employee and an untrained employee, which employee would you pick? And every single time, trained employee. Okay, why would you want a trained employee? Well, because they bring in more revenue. They do this, they do this, they do this. Okay, and then if you had an employee come to your business and their schedule, and you let's say you run Apple, and you have somebody who shows up at Apple, their schedule is from 10 to 4, and they came in for 1 week, they're super riled up, they show up at 9:45 every morning, and then they leave at, they stay late, they stay till 4:15 making sure everything gets done. And then 1 week later, they show up at 10:05, 10:20, 10:30, 10:45. What would you do to that employee? If you run Apple, you have this, what would you do to that employee? Well, we cut them. Then why are you being the only employee of your business showing up late to your own business? You're the sole employee. You're not training. You're not getting better. You say you're going to be at the doors every day at 10 a.m. and then you're there at 10:30, 10:20, 10:15. What kind of employee are you? Would you hire yourself for your own business? And if people aren't training, they're going to say, no, we wouldn't hire them. Then why are you treating your own business with that level of respect? And when you can make it make sense to them and make them see it on big picture and high level, this is what you're doing to yourself. And when they can actually realize it, they're going to be more inspired to be better trained. They're going to be more inspired to show up on time, to show up to their own schedule, sticking to their commitments, sticking to their routine, being purposeful and intentional about their day. And when you can create that shift in somebody, they want to do it more. And we from the very start of the company, the culture isn't, you guys, if you see us on Instagram, you see the yachts and the events and the parties and this and the fun and all that stuff. That's not culture. Those are perks. Those are perks of sticking to a good culture. And the culture is high standards, accountability, showing up on time, treating each other with respect, being solution oriented, playing at a high level. It's not that you can bring your dog to work or you have a nap room in the office. It's that's not culture. Those are one-time implementations that a company can do to make it easy, but culture is hard. Culture is showing up and playing at a very high standard. And all those perks and stuff that you see, those only come when teams hit their goals. And people confuse that as culture. That's not culture. Those are perks when the culture is implemented properly and everyone is hitting their goals at the right time and hitting their goals and surpassing their goals. That's when the perks come. And the perks only come because we have good culture and because we hit our targets.
Love that. Oh, so good. And there's such a confusion there. It's like so often that people think, yeah, like the yachts, the company trips. It's like, no, our culture is what made that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think oftentimes as leaders, we're not intentional about what systems we put in place or what standards or what core values or what intentions we put to design that culture. And when a business owner can come in and say, I'm going to grab this bull by the horns and I'm going to say, guys, I'm steering this way. You're either on the boat or you're not. And this is where we're going. People want that security. They want that something to buy into towards a common goal, the standard, the playful out, their value systems. They want to be told, where is this bull running? Where's this boat going? What's the, you know what I mean? And when you can get a collective all shipping towards the same common goal, that's what then creates this magical production. That's what creates this magical outcome to performance. And then you don't feel any regret paying for yachts and Ferrari rides when they're doing that. You're like, I will give freely. It's the frustration is when you're going to like have reps or people come to you and say, hey, where's our Ferrari rides? And why aren't we doing this? And why aren't we doing this? And then the frustration is like, okay, I guess we'll do that. But you guys aren't hitting your goals. Like you're not doing anything that we want you to do. And that's where you get this misalignment is I'm like, dude, you gotta fix the culture. You gotta play the game of, no, we get to do that when we do these things. Cause I know they're doing those things. I love
and then
that.
it's also like leading by example. It's leading by example and helping them achieve that culture. Like I remember, so I'm gonna talk about two different things. So first thing is, and they both kind of blend in with each other, right? Common mistake that I see business owners make, and I'm a victim of that mistake, and I made that mistake before until I had realization of it. And then when I had realization of it, I shifted my mindset and started acting accordingly. But last May is when we the first time that we ever actually made connection with each other, and like we've met a few times, but the first time we actually made connection with each other was May of 2020. I bring 5 guys with me to sales boot camp in Vegas. And in May, we did 42 accounts. And your boot camp was like the 28th, 29th or something like that, end of May. And our guys get exposure. They see other people winning at high levels. We think that we're winning at high levels. Once we get that exposure and seeing, holy crap, we could be playing way better. Other people are doing it way better than us, way more than us. Why can't we be doing, we saw guys that were in that room that it's their first month in solar and they're putting up 15, 20 accounts. And we're like, those guys are scrubs. Like, why the heck are they doing that? Like, why can't we do that? So we get exposure next. And, I invested for all of my guys to go there. None of them spent any of their own money. I'm like, all right, I'm going to invest in them because I believe that if they're better trained, they're going to produce better. So we go from 42 accounts, same number of people, it was 12 people in the entire team. We go from 42 accounts. Next month, we go to 106 accounts. And it came down to two different things. It was one, investing in people. Big believer, you need to invest in your people. So invested in people, go from 42 to 106. The next month we go from 106 and we have drop off. We go down to 80 something. And I'm like, okay, what's wrong? What's shifted? What happened here? And then I'm like, all right, I call you. I remember I called you and you're like, hey, I'm actually in LA. Come hang out. So I come and meet you and you're like, dude, hop on this consulting with me. It's $100,000. I've never invested $100,000 into, coaching or my business or anything like that. You're like, it's $100,000. And we're going to help you build the system so you don't go, so you never run into that and you go up. I'm like, okay. And most people would be like, all right, we're going to offer, $100,000, like crap. Like, what if it doesn't work? What if this? And then in my head, I'm like, all right, what was the action that I did to take me from 42 to 106? I invested money in my people. All right, why am I not going to replicate those same actions that got me a higher result? So I was like, you know what? It worked the first time. Sam didn't let me down. Let me go again. Boom. Like next day, you hop on a call with us. We finalize the contract. And then from there, we establish everything to, the last month of the year, we did in 40 days, we put up 250 accounts. It's consistent. And then we took team to the recruiting summit, took the whole team to D2D Con, D2D Fest the other day. We took the whole, not the whole, good portion of the team to D2D Fest. We hired Mike O'Donnell. He comes in, he flies in, he does a training for us. We hired Coach Burr. through your connection. Coach Burt comes in, he does a training with us. Like we are consistently repeating the actions that work, that help us get to where we want to go. And most business owners, what they do is they go from 0 to 1. And it happened to me. They go from 0 to 1, and then they don't replicate the actions that got them from 0 to 1 because they're really comfortable at 1 and they want to protect 1. They want to stay at 1. They like what 1 looks like, but they don't repeat the actions that got them to 1. And so they stay at 1 rather than repeating the actions that got them from 0 to 1 to go from 1 to 2.
Love that, dude. Love that. And it's, like I said, it's such a fun element to see you fundamentally practicing that, as we, you're like, how do I invest in my people and find them the right people in the right scenario, in the right event, the right coach, the right, and the right time and what they're looking for to take them to another level. And it's so sad to see how many people have the scarcity mindset of like, oh my gosh, like, what if I spend $5,000 on my people or 10 grand or 100 grand or whatever the number is, and they don't perform? And I'm like, well, what if they do perform?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Imagine you hadn't come to the sales boot camp or the summit. Had you just been like, well, let's keep trekking. It was, you know what it was? It was when Casey and Cooper sat down at that sales summit, and these are 2 brand new solar reps, and they did like 35 accounts in their first month. And I just remember Mo being like, no way, like, no, what? Like, and I just remember Mo like literally was so dumbfounded. He's like, no, that's impossible. Like your first month, no. And I was like,
they did more than our whole team.
Yeah, you're
two of them.
Your 2 dudes smashed our whole team. And so what that exposure does, and that's the power of masterminds. That's the power of being around cool people. That's the power of saying, can I get exposure to the unknown in my own world? I just got off a phone call with a client. He's a $10 million roofing company. And I just told him, I was like, I hate to like, because he was like, almost like kind of bragging, and I was like, dude, I hate to like pop your bubble. I'm not trying to like, it's all perspective, dude. Like in your head, you're probably like stoked on this 10 million because in comparison to most roofing companies, you're double. But I'm just like, I don't know, you put yourself against somebody else. Like there's guys doing 10 million a week. There's guys doing, you know what I mean? Like it's not, the problem is too many people get so attached to like, my environment says I'm great. You put yourself in a new higher level environment, I promise you'll say, oh shoot, I am great. So now I need to play like they're great. And you put yourself in another environment and you say, damn, I thought I was great because I made it to this great. And all of a sudden you then become even more great. And I'm a huge proponent of environment and just exposure to like, I swear Casey and Cooper probably did more for you in that 2-day summit than I did in all the sales training. You know what I mean?
I love them. They're great guys. Cooper and Casey are awesome.
I love it. Okay.